So what character are we going to draw today that starts with the letter A? It's time to enter the Drawing Dojo and find out. How you doing, everybody, and welcome to NinjaToons, where the martial arts meets the creative arts. I'm Michael Voog, the Art Ninja, and for the first week in this new year, we're going to be drawing Aang from Avatar. So let's get started. Well, I hope all of you had a safe and happy holidays, and you're excited to see what the Art Ninja has to bring for you in 2022. Now, at the end of all my videos, I always say, remember your ABCs. Always be creating. So during the break, I was thinking a little bit about what could we do here in the Drawing Dojo to give you a better viewing experience. So I thought it would be fun to come up with something new and exciting as we enter 2022 for the Drawing Dojo. So what I'll be doing for the next 52 weeks of this year is I'll be creating a character that starts with the letter of that week in the year. So week 1 will be A, week 2 will be B, week 3 will be C. And you're going to get a chance to vote on what character you'd like the Art Ninja to draw for that next week. So this week, we're going to start with the letter A, and we're drawing Aang from Avatar. Now, if you remember the 5 steps to creativity, the very first step is stretch. Now, if it's been a long day and you're tired, you won't have the best imagination. In fact, your creativity may be pretty low. So by stretching, it helps to get those endorphins up, the blood flowing, and increase your creativity. Activity leads to creativity. So at NinjaToons, we use some basic stretches to different types of superheroes. For example, our Captain America stretch. That's where you throw your shield, you bring your arm across your chest and pull it in to stretch out the shoulder. Do that on both sides. Okay? Whether you draw right-handed or left-handed, it's always good to have that balance. Another stretch is Iron Man. So you're going to squeeze those fists really tight and then stretch out those fingers like Iron Man's firing his repulsors. Squeeze that fist nice and tight, stretch out those fingers. Another stretch is Wonder Woman. Now, Wonder Woman has her lasso of truth. So all I want you to do is raise your arms up and just rotate your wrists. Okay, this is our Wonder Woman stretch. Our next stretch is Thor. Thor has Mjolnir. So what we'll do for Thor is we're just going to rotate our arms, okay, like we're holding Mjolnir, forward and backward to rotate and loosen up our shoulders. After that, we have Spider-Man. Now for Spider-Man, you're going to have your palm facing the ceiling, make your Spider-Man hand, and then gently pull down and back to stretch out the tendons in your forearms. Do that on both sides. Next, we have Buzz Lightyear. So you're going to have your palm facing the ground, make a fist, and then press down on top like you're firing your light laser. And this is stretching the tendons on the top of your forearm. Okay. After that, we have Batman. Now Batman punches out the bad guys. Pow, boom, bam. So twist your upper body. And the last stretch is Superman. So Superman, you're going to lift your arms up. You're going to stretch to the side and stretch to the other side, like you're flying to the left and to the right. And that's our superhero stretches. That's step number 1 in the 5 steps of creativity. So now that we've loosened up a little bit before drawing, step number 2 is to think before you draw. Now the character we're drawing today is Aang. So I want you to think about what Aang looks like. What are his features? What's the costume that he wears? What's his uniform look like? What are the features on his face? Okay, what are his proportions? Is he a heavy character? A muscular character? A skinny character? Is he tall? Is he short? So think about those features of the character. And of course, you know that distinguishing feature on his forehead. Step number 3 in the 5 steps of creativity is now sketch, not carve. So what's the difference? Sketching means you press lightly and loosely on the paper versus carving, which you're pressing hard and really digging into the paper. So I remember as a young artist, what happens when you press too hard on your paper? That line is very dark, and if you make a mistake, you're tempted to want to erase it. Now what happens is you spend more time erasing than you do drawing. So it's important that you sketch lightly and loosely on your paper so that if you make a mistake, it's hardly noticeable. It won't be distracting and it'll allow you to make your modifications to your drawing without being obsessed about erasing that line. So if you start by sketching, you can eventually darken those lines as we go through the sketching process as we refine the drawing. Now to draw Aang, we're going to start with the letter A. Remember to sketch this A out lightly. Now notice where that is on my paper. Notice the A is in the center of the paper. And above the A now, what we're going to draw is an oval, which is going to be the shape of Aang's head. So after we draw on the oval above the letter A, we're going to draw on his belt line or his sash line, which will be right below the horizontal line in our letter A. After that, we're going to draw his baggy pants. Next, we're going to draw his lower legs below the kneecaps. Now pay close attention to where I place these lines. They're still along the same angle as the sides of the letter A, but the leg on the left, because of the baggy pants, is going to start more toward the center line. It was always difficult for me as a kid drawing feet, especially a foot coming right at me. So I'm going to give you a little secret. Think of triangle shapes. If you notice the shapes on his left foot, that's more of a regular triangle. But on the foot on his right, we're going to use more of a cone shape to show that foot being in perspective. Now we're going to use C curves and straight lines to draw his arm. From the shoulder line where the head connects to his shoulders, we're going to start with a C curve and then a straight line underneath that. Now a great designing tip is to combine the three lines that you would need to draw anything. And those three lines are a straight line, a C curve, so it looks like the letter C, and when you combine two C curves together, you get the letter S. So you have a straight line, a C curve, and an S curve. Now in this initial sketch phase, we also want to use basic shapes. And those four basic shapes are a square, a circle, a triangle, and a rectangle. So far in our drawing, we've already used a circle or a modified circle, which is our oval. We've used a triangle or a cone, and we've used a square. Next, we're going to use a modified rectangle to make Aang's other fist. Now here's another tip. If you're drawing something that's coming at you, whether it's a hand, a fist, a finger, it's always best to draw that thing that's closest to you first and then connect it to the body. So in this case, we're going to draw Aang's fist holding his staff. Because the fist is closest to the viewer, we're going to draw that fist first and then we're going to connect the fist to the body. And it's okay when you're doing sketching that you don't have perfectly straight lines. Remember, you're sketching the drawing right now. You don't need to get out a ruler and make perfectly straight lines. Sketch it lightly and loosely to indicate where the different elements of your drawing are going to be placed. You notice here that the staff is not perfectly straight. I'll worry more about that in step 4, which is cleanup or inking. Now I'm going to connect the fist to the body using his lower arm and his upper arm. Now after we've used basic shapes to put together Aang, we've used circles, squares, triangles, and rectangles. The next step is to bring volume to our character or form. So you'll notice that in the bend in his arm, you see that C curve I drew right there? That's because there's two cylinders that are coming together. So now you want to start thinking three-dimensionally. So we're going to connect the collar of Aang to his head. And then we're going to draw the center line on his head, turning that circle into a sphere. Now the two most important lines on a head shape is your center line and your eye line. The center line tells you if you're looking to the right or to the left. Your eye line tells you if you're looking up or looking down. So by drawing the center line and eye line on Aang, we can see that he's looking to his right, our left, and he's gazing slightly down. In another lesson, I'll get into the proportions of the head, where the ears are placed, the eyes, the nose, the mouth. But for now, just have the ears and the eyes across from the eye line. We're using ovals to indicate his ears and his eyes. Now, most anime characters, you'll have a darker line on the top of the eye and slightly on the bottom. We're going to give him those nice big pupils and iris for the inside of his eye, his tiny little nose, and of course, his big Aang smile. Now for his distinguishing feature on his forehead. We're going to start using the center line to create the letter V and turn that into a triangle, and then we're going to use the contour of the head to finish that arrow. So it feels like that's wrapping down on his skull, onto his forehead, between his eyebrows. Now I'm going to draw in the inner ear using simple straight lines. Looks kind of like a lightning bolt. I'm going to start to darken now and refine the silhouette of Aang's head and define his jawline. Darkening the bottom of his eye. Now we're going to draw the bottom of his collar. Now this is really important that you see the bottom of his collar is a C curve because it's a cylinder wrapping around his body. And then we're going to divide that up in the opening of his collar with the letter V. Now the same thing is going to apply to his poncho. His poncho is going to wrap over his shoulders, but it's draping down. So we're going to use the letter C, or a C curve, to draw the bottom of that fabric that's wrapping over his shoulders and across his upper body. See how I'm starting to darken the line as I'm going through this drawing now. After I draw his poncho, his belt or his sash is cinching in, so it's tightening up his waist. And then for his upper shirt and his pants, they'll come in as that sash tightens around his waist. Now I'm darkening his pants, just defining the lines a little bit better. Now the next part for his hands is we're going to divide his fingers up into 4. So to do that, you're going to draw a line in the center to separate his hands like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and then divide that first half and second half again to create the 4 fingers. Then we're going to use a triangle to indicate his thumb, and on his other hand, an easy way to draw a fist is to draw this sideways letter J as the fingers tighten up around the fist. Now the next step is going to be drawing some contour lines. Now that's the parts of the bands that go around his costume, around his forearm and his wrist, and you can see that on both sides, and also around his ankles. Now to show that his toes are rounded, we're going to draw another contour line on the tips of his toes. Now for his pants, there's a little bit of an opening there on the inner thigh. So we're going to add that detail now. And then we're going to add some details to his staff. So we're going to use triangle shapes on the upper and lower parts of his staff. And then finish it off with some pins that go inside the staff. You can see now that I'm darkening up some of the lines. I've taken my light sketch and now I'm refining my drawing so that it's very clear before our next step which lines I want to darken and which lines I'm going to color over. You'll also notice around the fabric lines, I'll add a little bit more texture and realism to the folds. All right, that looks great. So that completes the 3rd step in the 5 steps of creativity. The 4th step is cleanup or inking. So what I'll do now is I'm going to get my ink pen and I'm going to start tracing or cleaning up my drawing with dark ink. Now for you, this could be your number 2 pencil, and if you're super confident in your line quality, grab a pen or marker. But remember, you can't erase a pen or marker. Okay, well you can get white out, I know, but you can't erase. Now during the cleanup or inking phase, you want to pay very close attention to your line quality. And what I mean by that is that how you taper a line, how you draw your line, you want to make sure that it's nice and smooth. Now, the great thing about this fourth step of inking your drawing is that you already have the drawing in front of you. There's no guesswork. You've already refined your drawing, so all you have to do is trace it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up this drawing a little bit. I'm going to ink Aang, and then I'll see you for step 5, which is color. Now, the best tip I can give you for inking is that you want to take this slowly. Okay, the line's already there, so just trace the line, but go slowly. And if you need to, you can twist your paper so that you're comfortable with drawing your line. It's always better to pull your line down toward you than to push away from it. So remember, pull your line, don't push your line. Now, you also may have noticed that there were different thicknesses to some of the lines I drew. This is something that I'll bring up in a future 2-minute tip. How to taper your line from thick to thin. Now, the last step to your drawing is adding color. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up this drawing. You'll see how I add color to Aang and finish up with the final tips. Now, to finish up your drawing, you can also add some creative elements in your background. But the very last step, once you're satisfied with your drawing, is to sign your name in the bottom right corner, and of course, the date. Now, why is the date important? Because it gives you a reference point. By weekly entering the Drawing Dojo and watching our videos here at NinjaToons, you'll continue to do drawing after drawing, and as you're dating them, you'll be able to look back 3 to 6 months and see how much you've improved. Now, the other thing I would recommend is have a sketchbook. You don't want to have loose drawings all over the house, underneath the refrigerator or underneath your bed. Get a nice sketchbook to keep all of your drawings together, so you can have them dated, and you'll go through each of these lessons week after week with the ArtNinja here at NinjaToons. Now, here's a secret link to get your very own art kit from the ArtNinja. So next week is week 2 in the new year, and I'm going to be drawing a character that starts with the letter B. So what I need you to do is go on in the comment section below and give me some suggestions. What character would you like the ArtNinja to draw next in our walkthrough video starting with the letter B? So that does it, the first walkthrough lesson of the new year. How to draw Aang from Avatar starting with the letter A. Now, if you like this video, you know what to do. Make sure you strike that like button. And if you're not a subscriber yet, well, smash that subscribe button. And then ring that notification bell in the upper right corner to all, so that anytime we post new content, you don't miss a single video. So until next time, remember your ABCs. Always be creating. Make it a great day, and stay tuned for more videos. Domo arigato! Well, I hope all of you had a safe and happy holidays, and you're excited to see what the ArtNinja has to bring for you in 2022. Now, next week, I'm going to be drawing another character starting with the letter. So that does it for the very first walkthrough lesson in the new year. How to draw Aang from Avatar starting with the letter A. So if you like this video, you know what to do. Make sure you strike that